All righty, here we go. This is not an episode of the Hardline Sports Talk. There's going to be no episode this weekend, but I am Michael Merlo, and I just wanted to come on here quickly and recap and talk about the New York Giants game on Thursday night. Just a couple of quick updates here. We're going to post our NFL picks, so we keep track of that on our social media pages, and we'll go over those during next week's episode, Monday or Tuesday, and we like to keep track. We're going to have a little punishment for the loser of the picks at the end. I think I'm in the lead over JM, but I am Michael Merlo. And I just want to talk about the New York Giants game on Thursday because it's kind of just what has been going on for the last 4 years. And that's just disappointment. They won a Super Bowl in 2011, and I'm grateful for that. I am. I remember, every second of that game. I remember being at the parade. My favorite football game ever is the game in which they beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. That is really a memory. I remember where I was. I watched the entire game and I didn't get up from my seat. So again, I'm blessed to see that championship in my life. And the 2007, I was young. I remember it, a little bit. But the 2011 one really sticks to me, and that's the only championship in the 2007 that I've seen in my life because my Mets haven't won anything. But they go to the play, they win the Super Bowl in that year, and then the next time they're in the playoffs is 2016, and they win a Super Bowl, and they were good after that 2012 season, and then they fell off, and it was almost like a rebuilding mode. In 2016, they have the team, they spend the money, they bring the defense up, and they go to the playoffs. And they're eliminated by the Packers in the wild card game, and you're saying, okay, well, 2017 should be a good year, and the hype around that team was legit. It was, but since 2017, the New York Giants have the worst record in the NFL, worse than the Browns, worse than the Jets, worse than the Jaguars, worse than the Detroit Lions. It's been that bad. And there's a picture going around, and I'm going to pull it up right now, but there's a picture going around of the New York Giants, the boat picture, before the Green Bay Packers game, and their record since then. And their record since that game is 18-49. It's putrid. And that's with the 6-win season last year. You would think, like maybe the 6-win season would bring them up. Maybe they won't be the worst team. The Jets just won 2 games last year, but no. Since the start of 2017, they have the worst record in football. And, people think of the Giants as this storied franchise. And listen, they have a great history. They have 4 championships. They've been successful. And I'm complaining because, you don't win championships every year. That's fine. Again, I've seen them win a championship. I've seen them win 2 championships. And a lot of people can't even say they've seen their team win 1. The amount of Jet fans I know that would give anything for 1 Super Bowl is crazy. But I think Jet fans will agree with me here is that you don't have to win the Super Bowl every year. But can you please just compete? Can you please just, can you give me something? Can you not be the worst team in football? Can you not finish last place in your division? Can you not be an embarrassment? The Giants have been a laughingstock of the NFL for the past 4 seasons now. A laughingstock, the worst team. They are the Browns, okay, of the past few years. They are even the Jets. I don't know if the Jets have had the worst record in the past 4 years. I don't think they've been that bad. So that's how bad this has gotten for the New York Giants. And again, just give me something. Let's compare it to baseball for a second. The Yankees haven't won a championship since 2009. And you're like, oh, since 2009. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But Yankee fans will tell you, and they just clinched the 29th season in a row that they will be over 500. That means for 29 straight seasons, they are in some sort of playoff race, some sort of pennant race where they're either competing for a wild card or for a division for 29 straight years. Okay, that is full go. You're interested in the season, even the season where they traded everybody in 2016 and Sanchez bursted onto the scene and Judge late in that year. They ended up competing that season. So Yankee fans will tell you, we don't know what you're feeling. So let's go to the game here. That's my rant about the Giants the past few years, because I love seeing Giant fans say, "Oh, well, we have the Super Bowls," and yes, we have the Super Bowls, but that's like a Yankee fan when you say the Yankees suck. Oh, well, we have 27 World Series championships. It's the same thing. It's the same argument, and it's dumb and it's stupid. Let's go back to the past 4 seasons. The New York Giants have been the laughingstock. So let's get into the game on Thursday night. They lose 30-29 on a game-winning field goal from Dustin Hopkins from 43 yards. The play before it, there was a flag, 48-yard field goal attempted by Dustin Hopkins. He ended up missing the field goal, but Dexter Lawrence was offsides on the play. They get to re-kick, and they make it. Of course, he drills it. The pain there was something. I had no words. It was really just, and like I just brought up, that loss right there really just, it all came over me. It was like the last 4 years of disappointment and heartbreak, and looking forward to watching your team every Sunday. And football is different because football is the sport where you have pride no matter what. I mean, when the Browns go 0-16, you're still wearing your Browns jerseys every Sunday, and maybe you're not as excited, but you're going somewhere and you're watching the game, or the game's going on because it's your team. It's 17 games a year, 16 games a year, now 17, and you just get excited. And that's how I'll be about the Giants, no matter how they are this season. But that was a tough loss. And, when you go over what should have happened in that game, how many points they actually left on the board there, let's talk, the Daniel Jones run, it was a questionable holding call on CJ Board. When I first saw the replay, I said, oh, it's a hold. And when I looked back at it, I think it's borderline. I'm not surprised they called it. His hand looks like he's getting outside on the corner's jersey, but I don't know. I don't know if I would have called it after watching the replay, but in real time, 100%, I see why they called it. So that's a questionable holding call. But you want to say, oh, well, they took a touchdown away. Well, you're at the 20-yard line. They didn't bring that all the way back. They brought it 10 yards from the spot. 10 yards from the spot was a 10-yard line. That's where the penalty happened. So you're still at the 20-yard line. You're still in the red zone. You got to punch it in there. Graham Gano had a great game. He had a couple of field goals over 50 yards, and that's important. And Gano is important. But when you have a couple of chip shots there, and when you have, a 30 or 40 yarder, you got to punch it in the end zone there. Enough is enough. I can't stand the last few years now, especially last season. And again, the Giants kickers have been good. Graham Gano, Aldrick Rosas had that great year. I don't want to see the kicker on the field. I need to see you guys score touchdowns and put the ball in the end zone. Because if you do that, we're not even talking about this. The Giants offense against a top 5 defense, a top 3, one of the best defensive lines in football, should have put up 40 points on this team, and they didn't. So that's one of them, a questionable call. A lot of people are saying that wasn't a hold. I don't know. It's borderline. Again, you can't have it come down to the refs. You can't have the game come down to the refs. Why is CJ Board even in that spot? Just get in front of him. He's going to score either way, Jones. The next one is the Darius Slayton drop, in which Daniel Jones audibled out of a call. He ended up having Darius Slayton wide open in the end zone. It was a slight overthrow, but Jones had some pressure in his face. He ended up getting drilled. That's not on Jones. That's on Slayton. It hit him in the hands. It was a little out of his reach. You got to make a play. Darius Slayton said the same thing. You have to make that play. And that was very reminiscent of the drop that Evan Ingram had last season on Thursday Night Football against the Philadelphia Eagles, in which he had a ball floated up to him. It would have been a first down, and the Giants would have been able to ice the game. And if everything held true, they would have ended up winning the division, actually. They would have won that game with that catch. So that was rough. And I ended up saying it, while I was watching the game, they kept showing the replay of Darius Slayton dropping the ball. I said, they're going to lose this game. It looks the same. It looks like the same thing as last season. And it is the same thing as last season. And I was really, really impressed by the way my quarterback played, Daniel Jones. I really was. And this guy gets a lot of heat, and, his turnovers are an issue, but he didn't even have one throw, one run where he didn't slide, where you're like, oh my God, what is he doing? He was excellent. I thought Jason Garrett, aside from, the play calling when James Bradbury picked off Taylor Heineke, we're going to get into that in a minute. But I thought Jason Garrett had a great game. They were throwing the ball. They realized Jones can throw the ball downfield, 10, 15-yard, 20-yard routes, and even taking that shot down the field, it'll work. He can make those throws. And I thought Jason Garrett had a great day. I thought using his legs with the read option was perfect. Um, he can run. You got to use his legs. That's a strength. I also thought that running the no huddle offense all game was great. The Giants, as much as people like to make fun of Joe Judge, with the running and the conditioning, they are conditioned. There's no doubt about it. So the offensive line can run the no huddle offense all game, and they did that. And they tired out the Washington football team's defensive line, which again is the absolute strength of this team. The four guys that they have on that defensive line is unbelievable. Montez Swift, Payne, Jonathan Allen, and obviously Chase Young. They are unbelievable. And I thought they played, I thought the way the Giants were able to use the strength of using the no huddle was great. And the Giants offensive line, shaky at times, protected Jones pretty well. And I was happy with their performance. I was especially happy with Andrew Thomas's performance, who's gotten a lot of heat the past, basically year and a half since he's been here. But I thought he played well. I thought he played well in the second half last season. And I thought he played well on Thursday night against Chase Young. That's a tough matchup. So I was overall happy with the performance from the Giants offensive line protecting Daniel Jones. I thought that was going to be the issue this season. And, run blocking has been the issue for this Giants offensive line. So hopefully they can figure that out soon. But I was really happy with my quarterback's performance. I 100% was. And I was happy with the fact that they were using Daniel Jones's legs as well. So Jason Garrett definitely, I'd say, gets a B to a B plus, because what he does with the after the James Bradbury pick. So the Giants were down 2 at this time, and they intercept Taylor Heineke. James Bradbury, who had a terrible night, makes a great play on the ball. He just jumped the route to McLaurin. Taylor Heineke, I thought, played well against a really bad Giants defense on Thursday night, though. And you could kind of tell Taylor Heineke was going to make one mistake, because he was making mistakes. He would throw the ball, and you're like, what the hell are you doing? That probably should have been intercepted, and it wasn't. The Giants didn't take, advantage of the opportunity in some cases. So they finally do. They finally intercept Heineke with about 2 minutes to go, and right up until the 2-minute warning, the Giants run the ball 2 times. Washington calls a couple of timeouts. You're right up against the 2-minute warning. There's about, 2 minutes, 5 seconds to go. The Giants on 3rd and 7 throw to Sterling Shepard. It would have been short anyway if he caught it, but he dropped it. And people are really questioning the play calling and the coaching with Joe Judge and Jason Garrett. Why didn't you go for the win there? And I'm going to side on that side of playing Monday morning quarterback and saying, why didn't you go for the win there? There's a 2-minute warning anyway. They already have a timeout. So, you have 2 timeouts for them already. So you complete the ball in bounds. They have to use a timeout, and you get a first down. I agree with running on first down. I would have ran on first down too. But on 2nd down and 3rd down, they did throw it on 3rd down. But on 2nd down, I would have threw the ball. I would have given my offense a chance to win this game. And they didn't. They played conservative. Joe Judge is getting killed for that. Garrett's getting killed for that. And they kick a field goal to go up 29-27, and they lose the game. But let's talk about something that really needs to be talked about. And that's the Giants defense, which was great last season. It was a easily top 10 defense. And their secondary was supposed to be a strength coming into this year, with, James Bradbury signing Adoree Jackson. You had Jabril Peppers and Xavier McKinney. You drafted this kid, Aaron Robinson, out of UCF, who people really, really like. You have a lot of guys on this team, and it has not been a strength. It's been terrible. It has been garbage, this offensive, excuse me, I'm used to saying offensive line. It has been terrible, this secondary. And I'm just shocked. Patrick Graham, who got calls about being a head coach last offseason, the Giants ended up giving him a little raise to stay defensive coordinator. And he doesn't look like he's getting a head coaching job next year, because his defense has been terrible. The Giants' defensive front, they didn't blitz as much. I thought they blitzed way too much against Denver in week 1, and they didn't blitz really at all against Taylor Heineke and the football team. I'm so used to saying Redskins. I almost said Redskins. The football team. And I don't know. James Bradbury had a terrible, terrible night. Terry McLaurin was doing whatever he wanted to. I thought the tight ends were open all night. Heineke was picking them apart all game long. And I like Taylor Heineke. I think he's better than Fitzpatrick for that team. I really believe that. And I don't know. It just wasn't a good night defensively at all. That's the reason why they lost this game. You can't blame Daniel Jones. You can blame the play calling after the interception, but that's it on the offensive side of the ball. You could blame Darius Slayton. I 100% think that too. Dexter Lawrence, you could blame Dexter Lawrence, but the reason why the Giants were in this position was because their defense was terrible, and that's going to have to improve because do we really expect the Giants offense to be able to go out there and score 40 points each night or even score 29 points each night? No, you can't. So the Giants aren't going to win shootouts. So that's got to get better. Saquon Barkley, I thought he looked okay. He played a lot of snaps on Thursday night. He's getting back into it. That's it. He had a run for 40 yards, excuse me. He looked pretty good on that. He looked like himself, not as explosive, but a little more like himself. They're going to have to get him, just to expect this guy to come off major knee surgery to look like himself right away was not the case. Now, I thought he looked terrible in week 1 and he probably shouldn't have played, but I thought he gave the Giants all he had on Thursday night, and I'm okay with his performance. He's still banged up. We shouldn't expect that much. I think we should see Devontae Booker a little more because I don't think Booker is bad at all. I think he's a real solid backup running back, and I think we should just give him more carries. You still give Saquon the same amount, but, if we're running the ball, let's give Booker some because Booker is the more healthy guy here. Don't expect Barkley to look like himself, the first month of the season, but let him get acclimated. Let him get back into the swing of things, the speed of the game. He's tripping a lot, which has been noticed. I definitely noticed a lot of other people are too. He's tripping over himself or the turf or the grass, whatever it is. So I'm not worried about him. He's going to get back. He's going to be himself soon. So let's just hope he gets back and he's healthy and is safe because he's a great watch for the sport. He's very exciting. So as much as I disagree with the pick at number 2, he is very, very exciting. There's a couple other things I want to get to. Kenny Galladay, who I thought played pretty well week 1, didn't have as many targets week 2, and he's seen screaming at somebody. It looks like he's screaming at Daniel Jones. It could also be the equipment manager. It could also be Mike Glennon, and it can also be offensive coordinator Jason Garrett. Nobody knows who he's screaming at because we don't have the right angle, but he was screaming. He was visibly upset on the sideline. And first of all, if Galladay's yelling at Jones, he should probably just shut his mouth because he's wrong, because Jones does not deserve to be yelled at after that performance on Thursday night. If he's yelling at Garrett, that's just, I guess, him not getting the ball enough, but you got to get open, Kenny. You got to get open, and he hasn't really been open. So I don't know what he's yelling at. I don't need any more diva wide receivers on this team. That's not needed. No more diva wide receivers here. So what else did I want to get to? Kadarius Toney, he played 19 snaps on Thursday night. He ended up posting some cryptic video or meme on his Instagram story. He then ended up coming up on Twitter saying all good. I don't know what Toney's issue is. He had COVID issues, a little injury issues in training camp, so he wasn't there 100%. He didn't play preseason games. He played 5 snaps last Sunday against the Broncos. So obviously there's something going on that we don't know about, but I just hope that the Giants didn't waste a pick on this guy, because yes, you traded down and you get a first round pick next season. And I'm happy. I'm happy they have a first round pick next season. It gives them a lot of options. And I think the Bears are going to be terrible. But if you wasted a first round pick on this guy at 20, what the hell are you doing? So I would have stayed at 11 or 12, whatever, 11 and taken Rashawn Slater at the University of Northwestern. So I just hope Toney can play and give them another option. And when you think about it, like, do they really need him? I mean, Slayton, aside from that drop, looked pretty good. Sterling Shepard since the last game of 2020, and now the first two games here looks like a number one wide receiver. I know he's not, but his stats would say otherwise, averaging over 100 yards a game. Galladay is going to be Galladay. You have Kyle Rudolph, Cadence. You have a good tight end room. Was there really a need for this guy? So we'll see. But yeah, that's my Giants report. I am not happy. Somebody's walking in my room, and I don't want them to. Overall, listen, the Giants have to be better, right? They have to. They're 0-2, but the division is not going to be good. So, are they going to be a game out? Are they going to be 2 games out after Sunday? I don't know. The Eagles, could go 2-0 here. The football team are 1-1. The Cowboys are 0-1. They could be 1-1, or they could be 0-2. We don't know. So we'll see on Sunday. But listen, 0-2 kind of feels like a death sentence. I had said that, multiple people that I thought 0-2, you're done. I liked what I saw from the team. I'm not happy. I'm not optimistic because the schedule does get harder. So if the Giants are going to have any shot, they're going to have to beat teams that are much better than them. They're going to have to upset a couple of teams. But this team's not going anywhere if the defense doesn't improve. So it's just they can't get anything going at the right time. Joe Judge, quickly, I think the undisciplinedness of his team, I don't know how much you could put that on him. I mean, yes, some of the blame should be, but I kind of feel like that's such sports talk radio there, just blaming somebody for the undisciplinedness of his football team. I'm gonna say a little bit of it is on him, but he hasn't had a good first 2 weeks, right? The challenge flag on a scoring play on week 1 against the Broncos, that wasn't good. I thought the non-aggressive conservative play calling on, when they got the pick from James Bradbury, I didn't think that was good either. So overall, I do think the Giants, I think they'll be okay. I predicted them to be an 8-win team. I thought they had to get at least one of these games here. I thought they would lose to the Denver, but I did think they would beat Washington, and I think they'll beat Atlanta. I thought they'd be 2-1, and then getting into this tough spot in the schedule. So I don't feel great. It was definitely a rough day on Friday. I didn't get much sleep Thursday night, but overall, we're good now. The Mets disappoint me. I have a lot to say about the Mets and their front office rumors, which I'm actually happy about. So we'll talk about that on the next episode, but definitely tune into the Hardline Sports Talk next week. We're going to post on our socials our picks for week 2. I got Giants plus 3.5, so I'm up. Jan did not. So I'm already up 1-0 this week. And very excited for this week's episode. There's going to be a lot to get to break down week 2 of the NFL. And, the Yankees are in a pennant race still. They won last night. They had a really nice night. So, there's a lot to get to, especially in New York sports. The Mets are dead, but they're always a story. So we're going to get to that. Definitely. I'm very excited. So yes, definitely tune into the Hardline Sports Talk. If you want to send us emails or questions, at the Hardline Sports Talk at gmail.com to send it to us. Thank you very much.